Now, this isn't from me. This is just what I heard. A friend of mine, we had a big conversation. He's like really big into AI. He's building out his company sites in Replit, where he used to actually hire us to build their websites. And, he's really deep into the AI rabbit hole. And we had a conversation. And when I told him we're still building websites with WordPress, he looked at me surprised. He's like, "WordPress is still around?" Like that was like that was genuinely how he felt. And then in that conversation, he mentioned that he was talking with somebody running an AI agency out this way, and that they told him in a year's time, websites will no longer be needed or maybe even existing. And yeah, that wasn't me, but I thought like that was I guess where the tombstone came from and where I guess a big overview of a lot of this. But what are your thoughts on that? Because my jaw hit the floor and I was ready to like kick over chairs. Like, what are you talking about?
Look, since we talked about this, I've sort of thought about it a few times, and I think the thing that's kind of always overlooked when you see these predictions of the future of AI and other things is human nature. We're in a tech industry. We're in kind of this web design bubble, this AI bubble. Maybe we're seeing things a little different to your typical person. So I don't see it disappearing in that way that quickly. Yes, in the future, absolutely, because technologies, the way we interact with things, are going to change. That's just nature of technology. But we always seem to overlook human nature, and people are not going to suddenly go, "Oh, the internet, I'm not going to bother with websites anymore. I'm going to use a completely different way of searching." Like AI, for example, people like us that are used to the technology will pick up our phones and we'll go on to ChatGPT or Claude and things like that, and we'll ask it to do research for us. We'll ask it for questions. We're starting to get ads and we can buy things via things like ChatGPT. But I still think that's going to take more than the next 2 years before people adopt that side of things. Think of your parents, think of your grandparents, think of people that are maybe a little bit older, maybe not so tech savvy, or in countries that don't have access to the same technologies that we do in the Western sort of world, where we're used to it, having high speed sort of internet, having high spec phones, computers, laptops, all those kinds of things. I honestly think at some point it will change, but I don't think it's going to be this drastic kind of like websites will disappear in 2 years' time. I just don't see that happening. I just don't think it can happen that quickly. At some point, yes, probably. But I mean, what do you think? I mean, you've obviously given it some thought as well. What are your thoughts on how you see things changing?
Yeah, well, at first, when I hear predictions like that, or when I see these big changes or hear people talking about them, my first instinct is to fight against them. And I think that's a human nature side of things. And that's what I'm seeing a lot of. And it's something, though, too, like for web design specifically, I have been looking at these changes now since early last year because I've been seeing the writing on the wall that it's definitely evolving. Web designers are no longer going to get away doing the same thing that they were doing 3, 4 years ago, 3, 4 years in the future. Like we have to evolve. And it's the reason why I'm deep in it is because I teach web design. I want to be able to teach and be in it with everyone because we're all in this state of uncertainty right now because we don't know what it's going to be like 3 or 4 years from now. But I also feel like just the human nature of things, I see it across even different industries. Anytime you mention like this change, like for an example, there was a brilliant video that just came out. It was a designer. She is like the lead designer, I believe, of Claude Code or of Cursor, one of those. I think it was Claude. But she also led the design for Fig Jam. She led the design for Dropbox, like really high credentials and achievements. And she was talking about the web design process as we knew it, as we know it, is no longer the norm. And I went to the comments, and just the temperature of it is that first human reaction, which is we still need it, we still need it, we still need it, we can't change, that resist to change. And I think that the writing is on the wall, that things are changing, and we're seeing it across the board. And you and I even talk like, I was seeing it as far as like content, as far as like the numbers, and as far as a lot of other things. And now when I'm looking in under other industries as well, it's the same: graphic design, motion design, even marketing and other areas. I think that this is generally across the board right now. We're seeing this change. And so, yeah, I know I'm kind of like going on, but to sum it up, when I heard that, or something outrageous like websites won't be around for a year, I feel the human nature to react against it, but then I got to step back and kind of do a thought experiment, like what would that look like? And then start to play that out. And yeah, that's where I'm at with it.